The CEO sat behind his large desk on the top floor of a tall building. Papers were spread everywhere in front of him. Numbers and charts filled his computer screen. He was making big decisions that would change many people's lives. His company had thousands of workers, and today he had to decide which departments would stay and which would close. His phone rang. He looked at the screen. Unknown number. He almost pressed the red button to reject it. But something inside him said to answer. Maybe it was important. Maybe it was about business. He picked up the phone and put it to his ear. "Hello, this is the CEO speaking," he said in his professional voice. "Hello, sir," a small voice said on the other end. It was a child, a little girl. Her voice was shaking like she was scared or nervous. The CEO frowned. This must be a mistake. Maybe a wrong number. He had no time for games today. "Yes, can I help you?" he asked, trying to sound patient but wanting to end the call quickly. "My name is Lily," the little girl said. "I am 8 years old. Can you play the piano? It is very urgent. Please, I need to know if you can play the piano." The CEO was confused. What kind of question was this? Why would a random child call him about piano? He was one of the most powerful businessmen in the city. His time was worth thousands of dollars per hour. "Little girl, I think you have the wrong number," he said. "I am very busy right now. You should ask your parents to help you find a piano teacher." "No, wait!" The girl's voice became more desperate. "Please do not hang up. My mom told me about you. She said you are the best piano player she ever knew. She said your name and I found your number online. Are you the CEO? The one who runs the big company downtown?" The CEO stopped. His hand froze on the phone. How did this child know who he was? And what did she mean about her mother? "Who is your mother?" he asked slowly. "Her name is Sarah," the little girl said. "Sarah Mitchell. She says she knew you a long time ago, before you became rich and famous." The name hit him like a truck. Sarah Mitchell. He had not heard that name in 15 years. Not since he left his old life behind. Not since he chose money and power over everything else. His heart started beating faster. His hands felt cold. Memories came rushing back like a flood. Sarah, beautiful Sarah with the green eyes and the voice like an angel. Sarah who believed in him when no one else did. Sarah who he left behind without even saying goodbye properly. "Why are you calling me?" he asked. His voice was quiet now. All the business confidence was gone. "My mom is very sick," the little girl said. She started crying a little. "She is in the hospital. The doctors say she does not have much time left. Maybe a few days. She is in a lot of pain. But yesterday she told me she wants to hear piano music one more time. Real piano music, not from a phone or computer. She wants to hear someone play in front of her." The CEO felt his chest get tight. He could not breathe properly. Sarah was dying. The woman he once loved with all his heart was dying, and her little daughter was calling him for help. "I tried to find piano players," the little girl continued. "I called music schools and teachers, but everyone said they were too busy or they wanted too much money or they could not come fast enough. Then I remembered the photo." "What photo?" the CEO asked. "In my mom's special box. She keeps it hidden under her bed. Inside there are old pictures and letters. There is one picture of her and a man sitting at a piano. They are both smiling so big. On the back of the photo, my mom wrote something. She wrote your full name and she wrote, 'The man who made music feel like flying.' I did not understand it, but I thought maybe you could help. I searched your name on the computer and found your company. Then I called your office." The CEO closed his eyes. He remembered that photo. It was taken at the community center, where they used to play music together. He played piano and she sang. People would gather around to listen. Those were the happiest days of his life. Before the ambition took over. Before his father offered him a position in the family company. Before he decided that making money was more important than making music. "Please, sir," the little girl begged. "Can you come and play piano for my mom?" Just once, she does not ask for anything. She never complains even though she hurts so much. But she asked for this. She wants to hear beautiful piano music one last time before she goes to heaven. The CEO looked at his desk covered in papers. He looked at his computer screen full of numbers. He thought about the meeting he had in 1 hour. He thought about the investors waiting for his decisions. He thought about the millions of dollars at stake. Then he thought about Sarah. Sweet Sarah who sang while he played. Sarah who held his hand and told him he had a gift. Sarah, who cried when he said he was leaving to work for his father's company. Sarah, who said, "Promise me you will not stop playing piano. Promise me you will not let the music die inside you." He had promised. Then he broke that promise. He had not touched a piano in 15 years. Not once. He told himself he was too busy, too important, too focused on building his empire. Now Sarah was dying, and her little girl was asking him to remember who he used to be. "Where is she?" the CEO asked quietly. The little girl gave him the address. It was a hospice center on the east side of town. A place where people went when doctors could not save them anymore. A place where people went to die in peace. "Can you come today?" the little girl asked. "Please? I know you are very important and very busy. But this is important too. My mom is the most important person in the whole world to me." The CEO felt tears in his eyes. When was the last time he cried? He could not remember. Maybe 10 years ago at his mother's funeral. Maybe longer. "I will come," he said. "I will be there in 1 hour." "Really?" The little girl sounded surprised and happy. "You will really come?" "Yes, I promise." "Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. My mom will be so happy. I cannot wait to tell her." "Wait," the CEO said. "Do not tell her I am coming. Let it be a surprise." "Okay," the little girl agreed. "I will wait for you outside room 304. That is my mom's room number." The CEO hung up the phone. He sat in his big chair in his expensive suit in his corner office with the view of the whole city. He had everything: money, power, respect, success. But in that moment he felt like he had nothing at all. He stood up and grabbed his coat. His assistant looked surprised when he walked past her desk. "Cancel all my meetings for today," he told her. "What?" "But sir, you have the investor presentation in 1 hour. They flew in from 3 different countries just to meet with you." "Reschedule it," he said. "Something urgent came up. Something more important than business." His assistant stared at him with her mouth open. In 10 years of working for him, she had never heard him say anything was more important than business. The CEO walked to the elevator. As the doors closed, he looked at his reflection in the shiny metal. Who was he? What had he become? He had built a kingdom but lost his soul somewhere along the way. Now a little girl was giving him a chance to find it again. A chance to keep a promise he broke 15 years ago. A chance to play piano one more time for the only woman who ever truly knew him. The elevator went down, down, down from the top floor to the ground. And with each floor that passed, the CEO felt like he was descending back to Earth after floating in the clouds for too long. Back to reality. Back to what really mattered. Back to the music that had been silent inside him for so many years. The CEO drove his expensive car through the busy city streets. His hands gripped the steering wheel tight. His mind was full of memories he had tried to forget for so many years. He remembered the first time he met Sarah. It was at a community center in a poor part of town. He was 22 years old and had just finished college. He did not know what to do with his life. His father wanted him to join the family business, but he wanted to be a musician. Every Tuesday and Thursday evening, he went to the community center to play piano for free. It made him happy. It made him feel alive. Sarah came one Thursday evening. She was shy and quiet. She asked if she could sing while he played. He said yes. When she opened her mouth and sang, everyone in the room stopped talking. Her voice was like honey and sunshine mixed together. It was the most beautiful sound he had ever heard. After that day, they played music together every week. Then they started meeting for coffee, then for dinner. Then they fell in love. For 2 years, they were happy. They talked about traveling the world together, playing music in different countries, living a simple life filled with art and beauty and meaning. But then his father got sick. His father called him to the hospital and said, "Son, I need you. The company needs you. I built this business from nothing, and I need someone smart to take over. You are my only child. Please do this for me, for our family." The CEO remembered sitting in that hospital room feeling torn in half. One part of him wanted to stay with Sarah and chase his dreams. The other part felt guilty. His father had worked so hard all his life. How could he say no? Sarah understood. She told him to go. She told him it was okay. But then she said, "Just promise me one thing. Promise me you will not stop playing piano. Promise me you will keep the music alive inside you. Because that music is who you really are." He promised. He really meant it when he said it. But after he joined the company, everything changed so fast. His father put him in charge of a small department. He had to learn everything about business. Numbers, strategies, management, negotiations. He worked 16 hours a day, then 18 hours, then 20. He stopped going to the community center. He told Sarah he was too busy but would come next week. Next week became next month. Next month became never. Sarah called him. She left messages. She said she missed him. She said she understood he was busy, but could they please just meet for coffee? He always said yes, then canceled at the last minute. Always an excuse. Always an emergency meeting. Always something more important. Then one day Sarah stopped calling. She sent him one last message. It said, "I love you, but I cannot wait forever. I hope you find whatever you are looking for. I hope it makes you happy." He told himself he would call her back. He would explain. He would make time. But days became weeks. Weeks became months. And then he convinced himself it was better this way. Clean break. No distractions. He had to focus on building his career. Now 15 years later, driving to see her again, he realized what a fool he had been. He had traded love for money. He had traded joy for power. He had traded his soul for success. The GPS said he was 5 minutes away. His heart beat faster. What would he say to her? How could he explain 15 years of silence? How could he apologize for throwing away the best thing in his life? He parked his car in the parking lot of the hospice center. It was a small building, old and plain. Not fancy like the private hospitals where rich people went. This was a place for regular people. People without money. People whose insurance had run out. People who came here to die because they had nowhere else to go. The CEO felt sick to his stomach. Sarah was here, in this place, dying. While he lived in a penthouse apartment and drove a car that cost more than most people made in 5 years, he sat in his car for a moment, trying to calm down. His phone rang. It was his assistant. "Sir, the investors are very upset," she said. "They are threatening to cancel the whole deal. This is a $200 million contract. You need to come back right now. $200 million. Once upon a time, that number would have made his heart race with excitement. Now it meant nothing. Just numbers on a screen. Just zeros and commas. "Let them cancel," he said quietly. "What, sir, are you feeling okay?" "I am feeling clear for the first time in years," he said. "Handle it however you think is best. I trust you. I have to go now." He hung up before she could argue. He got out of his car and walked toward the building. The hospice center lobby was clean but sad. Soft music played from speakers in the ceiling. Flowers sat on tables, but they could not hide the smell of medicine and sickness. Old people sat in wheelchairs staring at nothing. Nurses walked by with tired faces. The CEO felt out of place in his expensive suit and shiny shoes. Everyone looked at him like he was from a different world. He was. He took the elevator to the 3rd floor. When the doors opened, he saw her immediately. A little girl sitting on a chair outside room 304. She had a worn teddy bear in her arms. She had blonde hair in 2 braids. She had green eyes. Sarah's eyes. The little girl looked up and saw him. She jumped off the chair and ran toward him. "Are you the CEO?" she asked. He nodded. "Yes, are you Lily?" "Yes." She smiled, but he could see she was tired. Her eyes had dark circles under them. She looked like she had not slept well in many days. "Thank you for coming," she said. "I was scared you would not really come." Adults sometimes say things but do not mean them. Her words hurt him because they were true. "I meant it," he said. "I promised I would come and I am here." She studied his face for a moment, then nodded. "You look like the picture. Older but the same. My mom will be so surprised." "How is she?" he asked. The little girl's smile faded. "Not good. She sleeps a lot now. The medicine makes her sleepy because of the pain. But she was awake an hour ago. She might be awake now. Does she know I am coming?" "No. You said to keep it a surprise, remember?" He remembered. But now he wondered if that was a good idea. Maybe Sarah did not want to see him. Maybe she hated him for abandoning her. Maybe seeing him would make her more upset, not less. "Are you scared?" the little girl asked. He looked down at her and saw wisdom in those young green eyes. This child understood more than she should have to understand. "Yes," he admitted. "I am very scared." "Me too," she said. "I'm scared every day. But my mom says being brave does not mean you are not scared. It means you do the right thing even when you are scared." The CEO felt tears coming again. This little 8-year-old girl was teaching him lessons he should have learned long ago. "You are very smart," he told her. My mom says I get it from my dad, she said. Then she looked sad. But I never met him. He left before I was born. Mom does not talk about him much. She says some people are not ready to be parents. She says he had his own struggles. The CEO wondered who Sarah had been with after him, whether she had loved that man, whether she had been happy. Does your mom have other visitors? He asked. Friends? Family? The little girl shook her head. Her parents died when I was little. She has a sister, but she lives far away and has 4 kids. She came once last month but could not stay long. Mom does not have many friends. She worked 2 jobs to take care of me. She did not have time for friends. The CEO felt anger at himself. While Sarah struggled alone, working 2 jobs, raising a daughter by herself, he was getting richer and more powerful. He could have helped her, if he had not been such a coward. If he had just picked up the phone. If he had just cared enough to check on her. Can I see her now? He asked. The little girl nodded. She took his hand. Her small hand felt warm in his. She led him to the door of room 304. Be gentle, she whispered. She looks different than in the photos. The sickness made her thin, but she is still beautiful. She is still my mom. The little girl pushed open the door. The room was small and simple. 1 bed, 1 chair, 1 small window. Medical equipment beeped quietly. And in the bed, covered with a thin blanket, was Sarah. She looked so small, so fragile. Her once thick hair was now thin and gray. Her once bright skin was now pale and yellow. Her once full face was now sunken and tired. But when she opened her eyes and saw him standing in the doorway, he saw her, the real her. Behind the sickness and pain and exhaustion, he saw the woman he had loved. The woman who sang while he played piano. The woman who believed in beauty and art and love. Hello, Sarah, he said softly. She stared at him for a long moment. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Then tears started rolling down her cheeks. You came, she finally whispered. You really came. He walked to her bedside and knelt down so his face was level with hers. I am so sorry, he said. For everything. For leaving. For disappearing. For breaking my promise. I am so sorry. She reached out with a shaking hand and touched his face. You are here now. That is what matters. The CEO sat in the chair next to Sarah's bed. The little girl stood on the other side, holding her mother's hand. For several minutes, nobody spoke. They just looked at each other, trying to process 15 years of absence in a few quiet moments. Sarah was the first to break the silence. Lily, she said softly to her daughter, did you call him? Was this your idea? The little girl looked down at her feet, guilty. I am sorry, Mom. I know you said not to bother anyone. But you said you wanted to hear piano music again. Real piano music. And I found the picture in your box. I did not mean to snoop, but I was looking for photos to put on the wall to make you happy, and I saw his name on the back of the picture. So I thought maybe... Sarah's eyes filled with tears again. She squeezed her daughter's hand. You sweet, clever girl. It is okay, I am not angry. I am glad you called him. She looked at the CEO. I did not want to bother you. I know you are a very important man now. I see your name in the news sometimes. Big business deals. Charity events. You built an amazing life. The CEO shook his head. I built a lie, he said. A successful lie, but a lie. I have been lying to myself for 15 years. Sarah studied his face. Even sick and weak, her eyes were still sharp. Still intelligent. You look tired, she said. Successful, but tired. I am exhausted, he admitted. I have been running on an empty tank for a very long time. Why? She asked simply. It was a good question. Why had he pushed himself so hard? Why had he worked 20-hour days? Why had he climbed and climbed and climbed, never stopping, never resting, never asking himself if he even wanted to be at the top? I thought I had something to prove, he said. My father built the company from nothing. He was a legend. I felt like I had to be even better. Even bigger. I thought if I worked hard enough, if I made enough money, if I became powerful enough, I would finally feel, I don't know, complete, successful, happy. Did it work? Sarah asked. No, he said quietly. I feel more empty now than I did when I was 22 and playing piano at the community center. Sarah smiled sadly. I remember that version of you. That version was happy. Poor, but happy. That version was with you, the CEO said. That version had something real to hold on to. The little girl looked back and forth between them, sensing something big in their words, even if she did not fully understand. "Lily," Sarah said, "could you please go to the cafeteria and get me some water? Take your time." The little girl knew her mother wanted to talk privately. She nodded and left the room, closing the door gently behind her. Now it was just the two of them. The silence felt heavy, full of words that had gone unsaid for too many years. "Why did you really stop calling me?" Sarah asked. "I thought maybe you found someone else. Someone more educated. Someone who fit better into your new world." "No," the CEO said firmly. "There has never been anyone else." "Not really. I dated people, but it always felt wrong. Empty. Like I was just going through motions." "Then why?" He took a deep breath. "Because every time I talked to you, every time I heard your voice, I felt guilty. I felt like a traitor to myself. You reminded me of who I used to be and who I wanted to be, and that person did not match who I was becoming. Talking to you hurt because it made me face the truth about my choices. So I stopped calling. I told myself I was too busy. But really, I was just a coward." Sarah was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "I was angry at you for a long time. Then I was sad. Then eventually I accepted it. People change. Dreams change. I had my own life to build. I had Lily to raise." "Tell me about her," the CEO said. "Tell me about your life. I want to know everything." Sarah's face softened when she talked about her daughter. "She is the best thing that ever happened to me. She is smart and kind and creative. She loves to draw. She makes up songs. She taught herself to play 3 songs on a keyboard I bought at a thrift store. She reminds me of you, actually." "She is incredible," the CEO agreed. "How did you—" "I mean, you said you worked 2 jobs. I was a waitress during the day and cleaned offices at night. It was hard, very hard. But I wanted Lily to have a good life. I wanted her to have opportunities. I saved every penny I could for her future." The CEO felt a sharp pain in his chest. While Sarah worked 2 jobs just to survive, he had more money than he could ever spend. The unfairness of it made him want to scream. "I could have helped you," he said, "if I had just reached out. If I had just called to check on you." "You did not know about Lily," Sarah said. "You did not know I was struggling. How could you help if you did not know?" "I should have known. I should have cared enough to find out." Sarah reached out and touched his hand. Her touch was weak but warm. "Stop punishing yourself. What is done is done. We cannot change the past. We can only work with what time we have left." Her words hung in the air. What time we have left? Not much time at all. "The doctors say I have maybe a week," Sarah said calmly, as if talking about the weather. "Maybe less. The cancer spread everywhere. There is nothing more they can do except keep me comfortable." "I am so sorry," the CEO whispered. "Don't be sorry for me," Sarah said. "I had a good life. Not an easy life, but a good one. I had Lily, I had love. I had moments of real happiness. That is more than many people get." "What about Lily?" the CEO asked. "After you, what happens to her?" Sarah's calm face cracked a little. This was the thing that scared her. Not death, not pain, but leaving her daughter alone. "My sister said she would take her," Sarah said. "But she already has 4 children. Money is tight. She lives in a small apartment. Lily would have to share a room with 3 other kids. She would not have space for her drawings or her keyboard. She would just be another mouth to feed." "That is not a life," the CEO said. "It is better than foster care," Sarah replied. "At least she would be with family." They sat in silence for a moment. The CEO's mind was racing. An idea was forming. A crazy idea. An idea that would change everything. But before he could speak, Sarah said, "There is something I need to ask you. It is the real reason I was glad when Lily called you." "Anything," the CEO said. "Will you play piano for me? One more time? Like we used to?" "Of course," he said immediately. "There is an old piano in the community room down the hall," Sarah explained. Lily found it. She asked the nurses if someone could use it, and they said yes. "Nobody plays it anymore, but it still works. When do you want me to play?" the CEO asked. "Now," Sarah said, "if you can. I do not know how much longer I will be awake and alert. The medicine makes me sleep so much. I want to hear you play while I can still really hear it, while I can still remember why I fell in love with you." The CEO stood up. His heart was pounding. "Sarah, I have to tell you something. I have not played piano in 15 years, not once. I might have forgotten how. Sarah smiled. You have not forgotten. Piano is like breathing for you. Your hands remember even if your mind does not. What if I am terrible? What if I disappoint you? You could never disappoint me, Sarah said. Just try. That is all I ask. Just sit down and try. The CEO nodded. He walked to the door, then turned back. Sarah, after I play... Can we talk? About Lily? About the future? I have an idea. Sarah looked at him with those penetrating green eyes. She saw something in his face. Understanding flickered in her expression. Yes, she said. We will talk. He left the room and found the little girl in the hallway holding a cup of water. Is my mom okay? She asked. She is fine, the CEO said. She asked me to play piano for her now. Will you help me find the community room? The little girl's face lit up with joy. Really, you are going to play? Right now? Right now, he confirmed. She grabbed his hand and pulled him down the hall. This way. It is at the end. Oh, I am so excited. Mom is going to be so happy. They walked past other rooms where other sick people lay in beds. Some sleeping, some watching TV, some staring at the ceiling waiting. The CEO realized this building was full of people whose time was running out. People saying goodbye. People facing the end with courage or fear or acceptance or denial. And he was about to play piano for one of them, for the only woman he had ever really loved. They reached the community room. It was a simple space with cheap furniture and faded paint. In the corner sat an old upright piano, scratched and worn, but when the CEO opened it and pressed a key, the note rang out clear and true. It works, the little girl said happily. The CEO sat on the bench. His hands hovered over the keys. They were shaking. 15 years. 15 years since he had done this. What if he really had forgotten? What if the music was dead inside him like he feared? The little girl stood beside him, watching with wide eyes full of hope. I am scared, he admitted to her. My mom says being scared means it matters, the little girl said. If it did not matter, you would not be scared. Out of the mouths of children. The CEO closed his eyes. He took a deep breath. He let his hands drop to the keys. And then he began to play. The first notes were clumsy. His fingers stumbled over keys they had not touched in 15 years. The CEO winced at the mistakes. It sounded terrible. Broken, wrong. But then something strange happened. His hands began to remember. Muscle memory kicked in like an old friend returning after a long journey. The movements became smoother, more confident, more natural. He chose a piece he had played for Sarah many times before. A classical song, slow and emotional. Each note carried weight. Each chord told a story. As he played, the stiffness in his fingers began to melt away. He stopped thinking about the notes and just felt them. The music flowed through him like water that had been dammed up for too long and was finally breaking free. The little girl stood beside him, mesmerized. She had never seen anything like this. Her mother had described it in stories, but seeing it was different. The way his hands moved across the keys. The way his whole body swayed with the music. The way his face changed from tense to peaceful. The CEO lost himself in the music. All the stress of his corporate life disappeared. All the pressure and meetings and numbers and deals faded into nothing. For the first time in 15 years, he felt like himself again. His true self. The self he had buried under expensive suits and business strategies. As he played, people began to gather at the door. Nurses stopped their work to listen. Other patients, those who could walk, shuffled into the doorway. Some came in wheelchairs. They all stood or sat in silence, letting the music wash over them. In this place of sadness and sickness and goodbyes, the music became something precious. It reminded them of beauty, of life beyond these walls, of moments when they were young and healthy and full of dreams. The CEO did not notice his audience. His eyes were closed. Tears ran down his cheeks, but he did not stop playing. Each note was an apology to Sarah. Each chord was a confession of regret. Each phrase was a prayer for forgiveness. The song built and built, growing more intense, more emotional. His hands moved faster, pulling more feeling from the old piano than it had probably ever given before. The climax of the piece arrived, loud and powerful, filling the room with sound and emotion. Then slowly, gently, the music came down. It became soft and quiet and tender, like a goodbye, like a last embrace, like the end of something beautiful. The final note hung in the air for a long moment. Then silence. The CEO opened his eyes. He saw the crowd at the door. 20 people, maybe more. All of them were crying. Some quietly, some openly. Even the tough-looking male nurse in the back had tears on his face. For several seconds, nobody moved. Nobody spoke. They all just stood there, holding on to the feeling the music had created. Then someone started clapping. Then another person. Then everyone. The applause filled the small room, but it was not wild or excited applause. It was grateful. Respectful. The kind of applause people give when they have witnessed something holy. The CEO stood up from the piano bench. He felt dizzy, overwhelmed. He had forgotten how it felt to create something beautiful, to give people a gift that cost nothing but meant everything. The little girl hugged his leg. "That was amazing," she whispered. "That was the most beautiful thing I ever heard." A nurse, an older woman with kind eyes, approached him. "Sir, that was extraordinary. I have worked here for 20 years and I have never heard anything like that. You have a rare gift." "Thank you," the CEO said quietly. "Would you—" The nurse hesitated. "Would you be willing to play more? For the other patients? Many of them do not get visitors. They spend their days alone. What you just did brought more light into this place than we have seen in a long time." The CEO looked at the little girl, then at the piano, then at all the faces watching him with hope. "I need to see Sarah first," he said. "I played that for her. But after, yes, I can play more." The nurse smiled. "Room 304, right? Let me get a wheelchair. We will bring her here. She should not miss this." Before the CEO could respond, the nurse was already moving. She was a woman on a mission. Within 5 minutes, she returned pushing a wheelchair. Sarah sat in it, wrapped in blankets, looking small and fragile but alert. Her eyes were bright with tears. "I heard it," Sarah said when she saw the CEO. "Even from my room I heard it. It was perfect. You did not forget. You did not lose it." The CEO knelt beside her wheelchair. "I never lost it. I just put it away. I thought I could live without it." "I was wrong." Sarah reached out and touched his face. "Play more, please, for everyone here. Let them feel what I used to feel when you played." The CEO looked around the community room. It was filling up now. More patients were arriving. Staff members were helping them get comfortable. Word had spread through the hospice. The piano man was here. Real, live music was happening. He stood and returned to the piano bench. The little girl sat on the floor next to him, hugging her teddy bear. Sarah's wheelchair was positioned where she could see his hands on the keys. "What should I play?" the CEO asked. "Play what your heart tells you to play," Sarah said. So he did. He played happy songs and sad songs. He played classical pieces and modern songs. He played music from movies that everyone knew. He played jazz and blues and everything in between. Between songs, people called out requests. An old man wanted to hear a song from the 1960s. A middle-aged woman requested something her daughter used to play. A young person who was dying too soon wanted to hear a current pop song. The CEO played them all, or at least he tried. Sometimes he did not know a song, so he improvised. He made up melodies that sounded close to what they wanted. Nobody minded. They were just grateful for the music, for the escape it provided, for the reminder that beauty still existed in the world. Hours passed. The CEO did not notice. He was in a zone, a flow state, completely absorbed in the music. His fingers were getting tired. His back was starting to hurt from sitting on the hard bench. But he could not stop, not yet. He looked at Sarah. She was still awake, still listening, still smiling. The pain was clearly bothering her, but she fought through it to stay present for this moment. The little girl had fallen asleep on the floor, her head resting on his foot. Other patients had drifted off in their wheelchairs, peaceful expressions on their faces. The music had given them relief from their pain, even if just for a little while. Finally, as the sun began to set outside the windows, the CEO played one last song, a lullaby, soft and gentle and soothing, a song about peace and rest and letting go. When the final note faded, the room was silent except for the quiet sound of breathing. Some people were asleep. Others sat with closed eyes, holding on to the feeling. The CEO gently moved his foot so he would not wake the little girl. He stood up and walked to Sarah's wheelchair. She looked exhausted but content. "Thank you," she whispered. "That was everything I hoped for and more." A nurse approached and said, "We should get you back to your room. You need to rest." Sarah nodded. Before the nurse could wheel her away, she grabbed the CEO's hand. "Wait, we still need to talk about what happens next." I know, the CEO said. I have been thinking about it all afternoon while I played. Come to my room in 30 minutes, Sarah said. After they give me my medicine. Before I get too sleepy, this conversation is important. The CEO watched as the nurse wheeled Sarah away. Other patients were being helped back to their rooms. Staff members were thanking him, shaking his hand, telling him he should come back. He looked down at the little girl still sleeping peacefully on the floor. She looked so small, so innocent, so vulnerable. An idea that had been forming in his mind all afternoon became clear and solid. It was crazy. It would change his entire life. It would turn his carefully constructed world upside down. But as he gently picked up the sleeping girl and carried her toward room 304, he knew it was the right thing to do. Maybe the first truly right thing he had done in 15 years. The little girl stirred in his arms and mumbled, "Are you my dad?" The question pierced his heart. She was not fully awake. She was talking in her sleep. But the question revealed what she really wanted. What she really needed. A parent, a protector. Someone who would not abandon her. "No, sweetheart," he whispered. "I am not your dad. But maybe I can be something close to that. If you want me to be." She did not hear him. She had already fallen back asleep, her head resting on his shoulder, trusting him completely even though she barely knew him. The CEO carried her to Sarah's room and laid her gently on the small couch in the corner. He covered her with a blanket. Then he sat in the chair next to Sarah's bed and waited for the conversation that would change everything. Sarah was propped up in bed looking at her daughter sleeping on the couch. The medicine was starting to work. Her eyes were getting heavy. But she fought to stay alert. "We do not have much time," Sarah said. "The medicine makes me sleep for hours once it fully kicks in. So I need to say this now while I still can." "I am listening," the CEO said. Sarah took a deep breath. "I am dying soon, maybe 5 days, maybe 3, and when I am gone, Lily will be alone. My sister will take her, but it is not the life I want for her. She deserves better. She deserves opportunities. She deserves someone who can help her become whoever she is meant to be." "Sarah," the CEO started, but she held up her hand. "Let me finish, please. I do not have the energy to say this twice." Sarah's voice was getting weaker, but her determination was strong. "I saw you playing piano today. I saw the real you come back to life. The you that I fell in love with. He has been hiding for 15 years, but he is still there. And I think maybe Lily can help you keep him alive. And maybe you can help her stay true to herself." The CEO felt tears coming again. He knew what she was going to ask. And he knew his answer. Sarah looked directly into the CEO's eyes. Even though she was weak and dying, her gaze was powerful, determined, full of a mother's fierce love. "I need to ask you something," she said. "And I need you to think carefully before you answer. This is not a small thing." "This is everything," the CEO nodded. His heart was beating so hard he could hear it in his ears. "Will you take care of Lily?" Sarah asked. "After I'm gone? Will you be her guardian? Will you give her a home and keep her safe and help her grow into the person she is meant to be?" The words hung in the air between them, heavy, serious, life-changing. The CEO had known this was coming. He had felt it building all afternoon. But hearing the actual question still shocked him, still scared him, still made him want to run away like he had run away 15 years ago. "Sarah, he started, then stopped. What could he say? What should he say? "I know what you are thinking," Sarah said. "You are thinking you do not know how to be a parent. You are thinking your life is too busy. You are thinking you will mess it up. You are thinking maybe it is better if she goes with my sister, with family, with people who have experience raising children." She was right. All those thoughts were racing through his mind. "But I need you to understand something," Sarah continued. "Being a parent is not about being perfect. It is not about having experience or knowing all the answers. It is about showing up. It is about trying. It is about loving someone more than you love yourself. And I saw you today. I saw how you carried Lily when she fell asleep. I saw how gentle you were. I saw how she trusted you. That matters more than any parenting book or any amount of experience." "But I work all the time," the CEO protested. "My life is meetings and business trips and stress." "That is no life for a child." "Then change your life," Sarah said simply. "You are the CEO. You have power. You have choices. You just have to choose differently." "It is not that simple." "Yes, it is," Sarah insisted. "You made your life complicated. You filled it with things that do not matter, but you can unfill it. You can simplify. You can remember what is actually important. The CEO stood up and paced the small room. His mind was chaos. Taking in a child, him. He lived in a cold, modern apartment with white furniture and no mess allowed. He ate dinner at his desk. He had not taken a vacation in 6 years. He did not even know how to talk to children except for the few hours he had just spent with Lily. "What if I fail?" he asked quietly. "What if I let her down like I let you down?" Sarah's face softened. "You did not let me down. You chose a path that was different from mine. That hurt, yes, but it was your choice to make. I do not hate you for it. I never did." "You should," the CEO said bitterly. "I abandoned you." "You abandoned yourself," Sarah corrected. "You abandoned your music, your joy, your true self. But maybe now you can get it back. Maybe Lily is your second chance, not just to help her, but to save yourself." The CEO looked at the little girl sleeping on the couch. She was curled up under the blanket, peaceful and innocent. She had no idea that her whole future was being discussed right now, that the next words spoken would determine the entire course of her life. "Tell me about her," the CEO said. "Tell me everything. What she likes, what she fears, what she dreams about. If I'm going to do this, I need to know who she is." Sarah smiled. Despite the pain and exhaustion, she smiled. Because she knew. She knew he was going to say yes. "She loves art," Sarah began. "She draws constantly. Animals mostly. And landscapes. She has this amazing imagination. She creates whole worlds in her pictures. I saved all her drawings in a folder under my bed. Hundreds of them." The CEO sat back down and listened. She loves music too. She taught herself to play keyboard by watching videos online. She knows 3 songs now. Simple songs, but she learned them all by herself. She has your gift for it. Natural talent. She just needs someone to help her develop it. Sarah paused to catch her breath. The medicine was making her drowsy. "She is shy around new people at first," Sarah continued. "But once she trusts you, she opens up. She talks a lot, asks a million questions. She wants to understand everything about how the world works." "What is she afraid of?" the CEO asked. "The dark, thunderstorms, being alone, and now losing me. That is her biggest fear, that she will be all alone with nobody who really loves her." The words struck the CEO like a punch. Being alone. He had been alone for 15 years, surrounded by people but truly connected to no one. He knew exactly how that felt. He would not let Lily feel that way. "She needs stability," Sarah said. "She needs routine. She needs to know that someone will be there when she wakes up and when she goes to sleep. She needs to know she matters to someone. Can you give her that?" The CEO thought about his life. His empty apartment. His meaningless meetings. His joyless success. What was the point of all of it? What was he actually accomplishing? Making rich people richer? Making himself richer? So what? Who cared? But this child, this little girl, she was real. She was important. Taking care of her would matter. It would mean something. "Yes," the CEO said finally. "Yes, I can give her that. I will give her that." Sarah closed her eyes. Relief washed over her face. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you. You just gave me the greatest gift. Now I can let go knowing she will be okay." "What do I need to do?" the CEO asked. "Legally? How do we make this official?" "I already talked to a lawyer last week," Sarah said. "I had papers drawn up just in case. I listed my sister as guardian, but there is a clause that says if someone else suitable comes forward and I approve them, the custody can go to that person instead. I will sign a document saying I want you to be Lily's guardian. The lawyer will file it with the court. It should go through quickly given the circumstances. What about your sister? Will she be upset?" "She will be relieved," Sarah said honestly. "She loves Lily, but she is overwhelmed with her own children. This will actually help her. And she can still see Lily, still be her aunt. She just will not have the burden of raising her." The CEO nodded. His mind was already racing ahead. He would need to change his apartment. Make it more comfortable for a child. More warm. More like a home. He would need to cut back his hours at work. Maybe step down as CEO entirely. Move into a different role. Something with more flexibility, more time. She goes to public school, Sarah said. 3rd grade. She is smart but struggles a bit with math. Her teacher is nice. Her name is Mrs. Rodriguez. Lily will be sad to leave that school, but I know you will probably want to move her somewhere better. Maybe she should stay, the CEO said, at least for a while, until she adjusts. Let her keep some things familiar while everything else changes. Sarah looked surprised but pleased. That is a good idea. A wise idea. They talked for another 20 minutes. Sarah told him about Lily's favorite foods, her bedtime routine, her best friend at school. She told him about the little girl's habits and quirks, how she always checked the closet for monsters before bed, how she did not like foods that touched each other on the plate, how she hummed when she was nervous. The CEO absorbed every detail like his life depended on it, because it did. His new life. His real life. The life he should have been living all along. Finally, Sarah could not fight the medicine anymore. Her eyes kept closing. Her words became slurred. "There is a box," she mumbled. "Under my bed. At the apartment. The super has a key. In the box is everything: pictures, letters, medical records, birth certificate. Everything you need. And my journals. I wrote to her every day since she was born. So she can know me. So she can understand." "I will get it," the CEO promised. "And the piano," Sarah said, barely awake now. "The little keyboard. It is in her room. Let her play. Encourage her.
Do not let her give up her gifts like you did.
Promise me." "I promise," the CEO said firmly. "Good." Sarah's voice was almost gone now. "Good. You are a good man. You forgot for a while, but you are. Take care of my baby, love her. That is all I ask." "I will love her like she is my own," the CEO said. Sarah smiled one last time, then fell asleep. Deep medicated sleep, the kind she would not wake from for many hours. The CEO sat in the chair watching her breathe, watching the rise and fall of her chest, thinking about how fragile life was, how quickly it could end, how stupid he had been to waste so many years chasing things that did not matter. The little girl stirred on the couch. She opened her eyes and looked around, confused. Then she saw the CEO and relaxed. "Where is my mom?" she asked sleepily. "She is sleeping. The medicine makes her very tired." The little girl sat up and looked at her mother. "She is sleeping more and more. Soon she will sleep forever." The directness of children. No filter, just truth. "Yes," the CEO said gently. "Soon. What will happen to me?" the little girl asked. She was not crying. She was too emotionally exhausted to cry. She just wanted answers. The CEO moved to sit next to her on the couch. He chose his words carefully. "Your mom and I talked. We made a plan. When she goes to heaven, you will come live with me. I will take care of you. I will make sure you have everything you need. You will be safe." The little girl stared at him. "Really? But you barely know me." "That is true," the CEO admitted. "But I knew your mom a long time ago. She was very special to me. And you are special too. I see it already. You are smart and brave and kind. I would be honored to take care of you. Do you promise?" the little girl asked. "Promise you will not leave me?" The CEO thought about all the promises he had broken in his life. How he had promised Sarah he would keep playing piano. How he had promised himself he would stay true to who he was. How he had failed and failed and failed. But this promise would be different. This promise he would keep, even if it killed him. "I promise," he said. "I will never leave you. You will always have a home with me. Always." The little girl thought about this for a moment. Then she did something unexpected. She hugged him, just threw her arms around his neck and held on tight. The CEO hugged her back, and for the first time in 15 years he felt his frozen heart begin to thaw. 5 days passed. 5 precious days that felt like both an eternity and a single heartbeat. The CEO did not return to his office, not once. He called his assistant and told her he was taking a leave of absence. Effective immediately. His father called, furious, demanding to know what was going on. The CEO hung up on him. For the first time in his adult life, he simply did not care about the business. He spent those 5 days at the hospice center. He brought his laptop and worked from the community room when necessary, but mostly he just stayed close to Sarah's room. Close to Lily. During the day when Sarah was awake, the three of them talked. Sarah told stories about her life. Funny stories about Lily as a baby. Stories about her own childhood. She wanted Lily to have these memories, to know where she came from. The CEO listened and learned. He learned that Sarah had been a waitress at the diner on 5th Street, that her favorite color was yellow, that she once dreamed of being a singer but gave it up to focus on raising Lily alone, that she had been happy despite the struggles. that she had no regrets. "I got to be her mother," Sarah said one afternoon, looking at Lily coloring in the corner of the room. "That is the greatest thing I ever did. Everything else was just details." In the evenings, after Lily fell asleep, Sarah and the CEO talked alone. They talked about the past, about their mistakes, about the roads not taken, but they did not dwell on sadness. Instead, they remembered the good times, the music they made together, the dreams they shared, the love that had been real even if it did not last. "Do you think we would have made it?" the CEO asked one night. "If I had stayed? If we had tried?" Sarah considered the question. "I do not know, maybe not. We were young. We wanted different things. But I like to think we would have been happy for a while at least, and that would have been enough." "I am sorry I chose wrong," he said. "You chose what you thought you needed," Sarah replied. "I do not blame you anymore. I used to. But life is too short for blame. I forgive you. I hope you can forgive yourself." The CEO was not sure he could, but he was trying. During those 5 days, he also played piano. Every afternoon, he played in the community room for the patients. Word spread beyond the hospice. People from the neighborhood started coming to listen. Families of patients, random people who heard about the free concerts. The room filled up every day, and every day Sarah came in her wheelchair to listen, even when she was in terrible pain, even when the medicine made her foggy. She came because the music mattered to her. It reminded her of beauty, of love, of life. Lily sat beside her mother during these concerts, holding her hand. Sometimes Sarah would close her eyes and sway gently to the music. Sometimes she would cry. Sometimes she would smile. But she was always present, always listening, always grateful. On the 5th day, Sarah did not wake up in the morning. The nurses said she had slipped into a coma during the night. Her body was shutting down. The end was very close now. Lily did not understand at first. She kept trying to wake her mother up. "Mom, please wake up. Please, I need to tell you something. Mom, please." The CEO pulled the little girl away gently. "She cannot hear you anymore, sweetheart. Her body is too tired. She needs to rest." "But I did not say goodbye," Lily sobbed. "I was not ready. I need more time." The CEO held her as she cried. He cried too. They sat on the floor of Sarah's room and grieved together. The nurse, the kind older woman who had praised his piano playing, brought them tissues and water and sat with them quietly. "She knows you love her," the nurse said softly to Lily. "She does not need to hear the words. She knows." Hours passed. Sarah's breathing became slower, more labored. The CEO and Lily sat on either side of her bed, each holding one of her hands. The CEO told stories to Lily, stories about her mother when she was young, how she sang in the community center, how her voice could make a whole room go silent, how she believed in beauty and goodness and love even when life was hard. "Your mother was the best person I ever knew," he told Lily. "She taught me what really matters. I forgot for a long time, but being here with her these last few days I remembered, and I will spend the rest of my life trying to be more like her." As the sun began to set on the 5th day, Sarah's breathing changed. It became very shallow, very quiet. The nurse came in and checked her monitors. "It is time," the nurse said gently. "She will go soon. Maybe minutes." Lily gripped her mother's hand tighter. "Mom, I love you. I will never forget you. I will be good. I promise I will be good." The CEO leaned close to Sarah's ear. "Thank you," he whispered. "Thank you for calling me back to life. Thank you for trusting me with your daughter. Thank you for showing me what love really means. I will keep my promise. I will take care of her. I will love her. Rest now. It is okay to let go." Sarah took one more breath, then another, then nothing. The room was silent except for Lily's crying. The nurse checked for a pulse. She checked Sarah's eyes. Then she looked at the CEO and Lily and nodded sadly. "She is gone," the nurse said. "I'm so sorry." Lily broke down completely. The CEO held her as she sobbed into his chest. He stroked her hair and let her cry. He cried too, tears streaming down his face without shame. They stayed like that for a long time, holding each other, grieving together. Two people who had both loved Sarah in different ways, now connected forever by her memory and her gift. Finally, after what felt like hours, the CEO gently lifted Lily and carried her out of the room. He could not let her watch as they prepared Sarah's body. He could not let that be her last image of her mother. He carried her to the community room, empty now in the evening darkness. He sat at the piano with Lily on his lap. "What do we do now?" Lily asked through her tears. "We remember her," the CEO said. "We keep her alive in our hearts. We live the kind of life she would be proud of. We love each other the way she loved us." "I do not know how to do that," Lily whispered. "Neither do I," the CEO admitted. "But we will figure it out together." He began to play, softly, gently, a song about loss and love and continuing on. Lily leaned against his chest, listening to the music and the beating of his heart. As he played, the CEO made a silent promise to Sarah. He promised to honor her memory by being the man she believed he could be, by raising her daughter with love and patience, by never forgetting what really mattered, by living with purpose and meaning and joy. The song ended. The room was dark and quiet. "Can we go home now?" Lily asked. The CEO realized she did not have a home anymore. The apartment where she lived with her mother would have to be cleared out. She could not stay there. She had nowhere to go except with him. "Yes," he said. "Let us go home." He carried her out to his car. He buckled her into the back seat. She fell asleep before they even left the parking lot, exhausted from grief. The CEO drove through the city toward his apartment. His cold, modern, unwelcoming apartment. Tomorrow he would start making changes. Buy furniture a child would like. Add color to the white walls. Make it warm and safe and comfortable. But tonight they would just survive. They would get through the first night. The first night of their new life together. As he drove, the CEO thought about how much his life had changed in just 5 days. 5 days ago, he was a businessman with no real purpose. Now he was a guardian, a parent, a protector of a grieving child who needed him. It was terrifying. It was overwhelming. It was the most important thing he would ever do. When they arrived at his apartment building, Lily was still sleeping. The CEO carried her up to the 42nd floor. The doorman looked surprised to see the CEO carrying a child but said nothing. Inside the apartment, the CEO looked around and saw his life through new eyes. Everything was so cold, so sterile, so empty. This was not a home. This was just a place where he sometimes slept between work marathons. He carried Lily to his bedroom and laid her on his bed. It was the only comfortable place in the whole apartment. He covered her with a blanket and sat in the chair nearby, watching her sleep. She looked so small in the big bed, so vulnerable, so alone in the world except for him. The weight of responsibility hit him all at once. This child was his now, completely his. Every decision he made would affect her. Every choice mattered. He could not be careless anymore. He could not be selfish. He had to think about her first. Always. It was the most scared he had felt in his entire life, but also, strangely, the most alive. His phone buzzed. Text messages from his assistant, his father, board members, all asking where he was, all demanding he return to work, all treating the business like it was the most important thing in the world. He turned off his phone and put it in a drawer. None of that mattered anymore. The only thing that mattered was the sleeping child in his bed. The child who had lost everything. The child who was depending on him to be strong. The CEO sat in the chair all night watching over Lily, making sure she was safe. Making sure she was not alone. Keeping the promise he made to Sarah. And as the sun began to rise over the city, bringing a new day and a new life, the CEO felt something shift inside him. Something fundamental. Something permanent. He was no longer just a businessman. He was no longer just a CEO. He was now a father, not by blood but by choice, by love, by promise. And he would spend the rest of his life being worthy of that title. 3 months passed. 3 months that changed everything. The CEO was not the CEO anymore. He resigned from that position 2 weeks after Sarah's funeral. His father was furious. The board was shocked. The business newspapers wrote articles questioning his decision. But the former CEO did not care what any of them thought. He took a different role instead. A consultant position, 4 days a week, normal hours. No more 16-hour days. No more missing life for meetings. He still made good money, more than enough. But now he had time, real time, time for what mattered. His cold modern apartment was gone. He sold it and bought a house instead. Nothing too fancy. Just a comfortable 3-bedroom home in a good neighborhood with a yard and trees and a porch. A home where a child could actually be a child, Lily's room was painted light purple, her favorite color. Her drawings covered the walls. Her books filled a bookshelf. Her little keyboard sat on a desk near the window. But the most special thing in the house was in the living room. A grand piano, beautiful and elegant and real. The former CEO had it delivered the day they moved in. "This is for both of us," he told Lily. "We will learn together. We will practice together. We will make music together." Now 3 months later, they sat side by side on the piano bench. It was Saturday morning. Sun streamed through the windows. The smell of pancakes filled the house. Life felt normal, good, real. "Okay, try it again," the former CEO said gently. "Remember, light touch on the keys. Let your fingers dance." Lily played the simple song she had been learning. She made a few mistakes but kept going. When she finished, she looked up at him hopefully. "How is that?" "Better," he said, smiling. "Much better. You are getting good at this, really? You are not just saying that to be nice? Really, I never lie about music. Your mom taught me that. Music has to be honest." At the mention of her mother, Lily's smile faded a little. It still hurt. It would always hurt. But the pain was becoming softer, more manageable, mixed with good memories instead of just sadness. "Do you think Mom can hear us play?" Lily asked. It was a question she asked often. "I think so," the former CEO said. "I think every note we play goes out into the universe. And wherever she is listening, and she is proud of you." Lily nodded, satisfied with this answer. "My turn to ask you a question. Are you happy?" The question surprised him. "What do you mean? Before you were rich and important. Now you are just normal. Do you miss it? Your old life?" The former CEO thought about this carefully. He wanted to give her an honest answer. "No," he said finally. "I do not miss it at all. That life looked good from the outside. Big office, lots of money, people respecting me. But inside I was empty. I was just going through motions. Now I wake up and I have a reason. I have you. I have music. I have a life that actually means something." "But you gave up so much," Lily said. "I gave up things that did not matter to get things that do matter," he explained. "That is not giving up. That is trading up." Lily smiled. Then she played the song again, this time even better than before. They spent the morning practicing. Then they made lunch together. Sandwiches and fruit, simple but nice. While they ate, Lily told him about school, about her friends, about the art project she was working on. She was adjusting well, better than he had hoped. The first month had been hard. She cried every night, had nightmares, struggled to eat, but slowly, gradually, she began to heal. She began to trust that this was real, that he was not going anywhere, that she was safe. After lunch, they went to the park. They did this every Saturday. It was their routine. Lily played on the swings while the former CEO sat on a bench nearby, always watching, always there. A woman sat down on the bench next to him. She had a little boy, maybe 5 years old, playing in the sandbox. "Your daughter is beautiful," the woman said. The former CEO smiled. "Thank you. She is not my biological daughter, but yes, she is beautiful." "Adopted?" the woman asked. "Sort of. Her mother was an old friend. She passed away. I am her guardian now." "That is very kind of you," the woman said. Not many people would take on that responsibility. The former CEO shook his head. "I am not kind. I am lucky. She saved my life as much as I saved hers." The woman looked at him curiously but did not press for details. Lily ran over, out of breath from playing. "Can we go to the library? I want to get new books." "Of course," the former CEO said. "We can go now if you want." They said goodbye to the woman and walked to the library just 2 blocks away. This was another routine. Every Saturday, park then library. Lily loved books almost as much as she loved art and music. Inside the library, Lily ran to the children's section. The former CEO followed more slowly, letting her explore. He picked up a book about parenting. He had been reading a lot of these lately, trying to figure out how to do this right. The truth was, he was making it up as he went along. Every day brought new challenges, new questions, new moments where he had no idea what to do. But he was trying, always trying, and Lily seemed to understand that. She was patient with him just as he was patient with her. They checked out their books and walked home. The afternoon sun was warm. The neighborhood was quiet and peaceful. Nothing like the busy downtown where the former CEO used to work. This was suburbia, normal, regular, and he loved it. That evening after dinner, they sat together on the couch. This was their routine, too. Every night before bed, they read together. Sometimes he read to her. Sometimes she read to him. Sometimes they each read their own books but sat close, enjoying the quiet companionship. Tonight, Lily was tired. She leaned against his shoulder, her eyes drooping. "Tell me a story about Mom," she said sleepily. "A new one." The former CEO thought for a moment. "Okay. One time your mom and I were playing music at the community center. It was winter, very cold. The heat was broken and it was freezing inside. Most people left. But your mom said we should keep playing anyway, so we did. Just the two of us in a cold, empty room. And you know what? It was one of the best nights of my life. Because it did not matter that we were cold or that nobody was watching. The music was beautiful and we were together. That was enough." Lily smiled. She would have liked that we play piano together now. Yes, she would have loved it. "Do you think she knows you kept your promise? That you did not give up music forever?" "I think she knows," the former CEO said. "I hope she does." Lily was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "I am glad you came. When I called you that day, I was so scared you would say no. But you came, and you stayed. Thank you." The former CEO felt tears in his eyes. This happened often now. He cried more in 3 months than he had in 15 years. But these were good tears. Tears that meant he was alive again. That he was feeling again. "You do not have to thank me," he said. "You gave me a gift. You gave me a chance to be a better person. To live a better life. I should be thanking you." They sat together in comfortable silence. Outside the sunset, the sky turned orange and pink. Inside, the house was warm and safe. Eventually, Lily fell asleep on the couch. The former CEO carried her to her room and tucked her into bed. He kissed her forehead. "Good night, sweetheart," he whispered. "I will be here when you wake up, always." He left her door open a crack the way she liked it. A small nightlight glowed in the hallway so she would not be scared if she woke up in the dark. Then he walked to the living room and sat at the piano. This was his routine now, too. After Lily went to bed, he played for an hour. Sometimes he played songs he knew. Sometimes he improvised. Always he played for Sarah. Every note was a thank you. Every chord was a promise kept. Tonight he played the song he had played for her in the hospice that first day. The song that reminded him of who he used to be. Who he was meant to be. As the music filled the house, the former CEO thought about how strange life was. How you could have everything and nothing at the same time. How success could be empty and simplicity could be fulfilling. How losing yourself was easy, but finding yourself again was hard but worth it. 3 months ago, he was a CEO with no purpose. Now he was a guardian with the most important purpose in the world. Taking care of one small girl, helping her grow, keeping her safe. Teaching her that love was real and people could be trusted and life was worth living even when it hurt. He thought about his old colleagues probably working late right now, stressing about numbers and deals and profits. He used to be one of them. Now he could not imagine going back. Not for any amount of money. His phone buzzed. A text from his sister. She lived across the country but called often to check on them. She was amazed by his transformation. "I got my brother back," she told him once. The real one. The one I thought was lost forever. The text said, "How are you two doing?" He wrote back, "We are good. Really good. Learning piano together. She is so talented." "I am proud of you," his sister replied. Mom would be proud too. His mother had died when he was 30, before he went completely cold, before he lost himself entirely. Sometimes he wondered what she would think of his choices now. He liked to believe she would approve. The piano song ended. The house was quiet except for the sound of Lily breathing softly in her room. The sound of life. The sound of purpose. The sound of love. The former CEO stood and looked at the photo on the mantel. It was from Sarah's last day, taken by a kind nurse, Sarah in her wheelchair, Lily on her lap, the former CEO kneeling beside them, all three smiling despite everything. Despite the sadness, despite the goodbye that was coming. "I am keeping my promise," he said to the photo. "Every day, I am loving her. I am taking care of her. I'm making sure she knows she matters. I will never stop." He turned off the lights and went to his own room. Before bed, he checked on Lily one more time. She was sleeping peacefully, her teddy bear tucked under her arm. The former CEO smiled. This was his life now. Simple, meaningful, real. He went to bed feeling something he had not felt in 15 years. He felt content, not happy in a loud, exciting way, but content in a deep, lasting way. The kind of contentment that comes from knowing you are exactly where you are supposed to be, doing exactly what you are supposed to do. Outside, the city continued its busy chaos. People chasing success, chasing money, chasing validation, running on empty tanks, searching for something they could not name. But inside this house, in this quiet neighborhood, in this normal life, two people had found what so many were searching for. They had found purpose. They had found connection. They had found love. And every day they sat at the piano together. A man who forgot how to live, learning from a child who was learning how to survive loss, teaching each other, healing each other. Growing together, the little girl's piano had brought the CEO to tears. But those tears had washed away 15 years of ice. And what remained was something beautiful, something real, something worth infinitely more than all the success he had left behind. A family small but strong, broken but healing, imperfect but full of love. And every night as the former CEO played piano in the quiet house, he knew that somewhere, somehow Sarah was listening, and she was smiling, because her daughter was safe, because the man she once loved had found his way back to himself, because the music that had died inside him was alive again. The piano played on, the music continued, and life, real life, finally began.